Welcome back to Gooner Fanzine TV. We're at Goal Lazio. I've got a very, very special guest, good friend of mine and a really, really good journalist as well. Anton Guerrera, who works for La Repubblica newspaper in Italy. He's the UK correspondent for the paper over there. Really, really well-respected newspaper, and Anton's a really well-respected journalist, a lovely bloke as well. We're here to talk about Chelsea, Arsenal, and we're just going to have a bit of a chat about other things as well. But Anton, you obviously cover a lot of English football for your newspaper. Well, what's your take on Chelsea this season to start with?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for your invitation. It's an honour to be here.
Thanks for coming.
Well, I think that it is one of those so-called transition years. I mean that we have Chelsea had the transfer ban, so they had to bet on youngsters, and I think that the experiment must go on, I think, because Chelsea has discovered that, in the past, they used to spend a lot of money, waste of money, or waste of money sometimes. But we saw that, that the Chelsea's academy is really, really good, it's high level. And that's why, now, I don't think, because the transfer ban has been removed, I don't know if it's a good news now for Chelsea, because we have seen Tammy Abraham, Mount, and James, on the right back, and all these loads of youngsters, and Hudson Odoi, even though he was just, already last year was really active in the first team. So I think the only problem is that that team has also a very inexperienced manager. Frank Lampard, and sometimes he tries to experiment. I think a bit too much, and he is maybe sometimes overconfident too.
Okay.
Which is I never understood why while Chelsea were playing really, really well. With 4 defenders back, and suddenly he changed, and he chose this 3 defenders line, because Rudiger came back, which was, I think, very negative for Chelsea. So he likes to experiment because he has to get his experience to go on, but. Sometimes maybe I think Chelsea in this particular moment, because I think that Frank Lampard will become a great manager. In this particular moment, maybe Chelsea will need a different kind of manager. Okay. But it's a transition year, I think, and Chelsea, as we saw, as we have seen, they can win against anyone, they can lose again against anyone.
Absolutely, Before we go on further and talk about the youngsters and the game itself as well, I've got to ask, from an Arsenal point of view, what's the take in Italy about Arsenal at the moment? Because because they played a lot of big games against a lot of big teams over the years. They're a well-known club in Italy as they are around Europe. What's the take in Italy about Arsenal?
Well, the take about Arsenal in Italy is a bit of declining team now, because also Arsenal is in a transition year. They had to sack the manager, and also I think that, in my personal opinion, there are some overvalued players in Arsenal.
I've got to ask, who are you thinking of?
The first one I always think about is Lacazette.
Okay, really?
Whose appearance is really great. He looks like he has an impact, but sometimes I think it's more negative into the squad than being or like Aubameyang. He was considered a great forward, but sometimes it's not so really constant, or it's not really regular in his performance. And of course, many Italians in Italy just remember and have in their minds Arsenal, the Arsenal of Arsene Wenger, Frank Ljungberg, Piré, Henry, Bergkamp, and so on. So the thing is, everybody in Italy knows that Arsenal has to improve.
Yeah.
The thing is that, I mean, after changing 3 managers this year, we have to see what is going on now, because even David Luiz, who is coming from Chelsea,
Yeah.
I mean, he has played, I mean, not in very regular, high-level
Yeah.
way. And also, I mean, in Italy we know very much Torreira, the
Yes.
midfielder,
From
because,
Sampdoria,
because he
yeah.
used to play in the Sampdoria. And he's a great player, but even him, I mean, he has never played in Italy for a big team, for a huge team. He just played for Sampdoria. So, I mean, when you bet on players that they didn't used to play in huge teams,
Yeah.
it's always an hazard, I would say. I mean,
Yeah.
that it's a kind of risk.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, that what is going on now in Arsenal. But there is the basis, I think. I mean, the ground to build up a great team.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And obviously, maybe just to talk about Torreira for 1 second, because Emery played him and he got a lot of criticism for playing him further forward. And obviously, Torreira is a defensive midfielder. I mean, he played in that position for Sampdoria in Serie A,
Yes.
and did really well, and that's why
Yes.
Arsenal signed him.
Yes.
I don't know what the feeling was in Italy when they saw him being sort of picked as an attacking midfielder. That must have been very strange.
Yes, because he, in Italy, if I remember well, he has always played as defensive midfielder. I mean, as the mind of the team. I mean, just, passing balls, I mean, everywhere through the pitch. And yes, that's absolutely true. It is also true that, players like him, they can play also sometimes a bit more, I mean, in a more attacking position, like he was Pirlo sometimes, and then he just went back to the midfield. But absolutely, yes. I mean, but I insist on this point. I think that Unai Emery he is a good manager, but he paid also, not just because of that, but also because, maybe several players of the team have been overvalued. I mean, and so, I mean, and we see that, I mean, also Ljungberg, I mean, didn't have an impact on them.
Yeah.
I mean, what Arsenal needs now, I think, is they just have to have a couple of 3 players in the strategic positions of the pitch.
Yeah.
But big players that they can be leaders in the pitch. Because what I see now in Arsenal is that there is no leader. There's no actual leader. There are many good players, but they don't have unity. There are no those 3-4 players that are strong in mind and body. I mean, that can lead the whole team to a target or to a result. Sorry.
I mean, that's a really interesting point, because obviously in England there's a big tradition of the captain being the sort of focal point and the role model and the thing that players take the lead from. And
that was
I
mean, this case, also the Xhaka case, showed this. I mean, what I was just saying, that which is Arsenal needs a couple of 3-4 really leader players.
Yeah, sort of strong characters and
strong characters that can, especially when you have, because football, you can have the best players, but you also have to learn when you have to suffer.
Yeah.
When you are besieged, or when you have to be defensive and so on. So in those particular moments, you need that kind of players. I think.
Yeah.
And this is also what sometimes maybe Arsene Wenger's teams sometimes needed, but in the best times of Arsenal they had it, like Patrick Vieira,
absolutely, Tony Adams as well.
Bergkamp.
Really strong characters who would step up, basically.
Impactful,
absolutely. Just a point on that. I mean, what's the feeling in Italy about the captain? Is it such a pivotal role? Is it such a, if you wear the captain's armband in Italy, it doesn't seem that it's so important as maybe in England, or is it am I wrong with that?
Absolutely. I don't know if there is really a difference between Italy and the UK on this aspect, but I can say that Italy is really strong, the importance of the captain.
Okay.
I mean, because like, for instance, I just make an example, which is Francesco Totti, Rome's legendary captain.
Yeah.
He has always played for Roma, and he has always, had the captain band, on his arm, and the same was for Del Piero in the Juve. Or if we just go backwards, like in the great AC Milan, we had Maldini, Bresi. And so usually, especially in the past, the captain armband in Italy was just for those that had been playing for the same team for many years.
Okay, yeah.
So it's really strange usually if you just give the armband captain to the captain armband, to someone that has just arrived or just moved to a new team. But this is happening in Italy too now, because like if we see AC Milan, for instance, is another great team that now is in a difficult moment now because they have to rebuild a new team, and they don't have many leaders in the pitch. So, and they had to. Sometimes they change the captain every game. And this is really, really weird in Italy. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, from my point of view, from an Arsenal point of view, I've been watching Arsenal play in Italy for more than 20 years, and I've seen some great Italian sides, as you say, the Baresi of AC Milan and various other. I did Sampdoria, I've done Juventus, obviously. There's a lot of teams over there. Italy is a really, really strong football culture, obviously. Just a point on that. I mean, what's the main difference between Italian football culture and say English football culture? We're obviously in Go Lazio, which is an Italian themed bar, Sergi's bar.
Wonderful bar.
Yeah, there's there's Gazzetta dello Sports everywhere on the ceiling, and if you haven't been to this bar, come down.
All my copies of Gazzetta.
Absolutely.
When I was a younger.
Honestly, I used to buy it when I went to Italy when I watched Arsenal. Couldn't read a word of it, but it was great. So But what would you say the main differences are in fan culture then?
Well, I think that if we talk about culture, there's a difference in Italy, that in Italy you have to win every time. I mean, there is no culture of playing commitment, or just play for good and just show that you did perform well. It's not enough in Italy. Okay. You have to just reach your targets, and be impactful and be effective. In the UK, in England, it's different, because you see that all the teams, they try to win the game, but in a very, I can say, relaxed way. I mean, they are not really obsessed by the result.
Okay.
They try to gain the result in a different way.
Okay.
While in Italy, that's why it's really, I think, hard to play in Italy, and it's also a bit boring sometimes, because in Italy many teams just are very tactical, and they just don't let the opponent play. I mean, they just try to disrupt their strategies and so on. So sometimes this can be a bit boring. And this has gotten worse in the recent years, because the quality of this area has gone down. And so when you play this kind of football with a different kind of players, I mean, with less quality players, this makes the league not so attractive.
Okay.
And also I mean, the English culture of football is, well, I mean, ahead of Italian now, because there is the infrastructures are massively more, I mean, more common here. Every football team has a great stadium in Italy. It's not like that. There's still, the 80s or 90s stadiums.
Yeah.
In Italy, they're not very attractive for the people, to go to the stadium. Yes, but there are still two different cultures.
Yeah,
two very different cultures.
Absolutely. I must admit, I do like going to Italy to sample the sort of tifo and the sort of colourful stuff inside, but the stadiums are a bit more.
And also, if I may add on this point, I met a few months ago Nick Hornby. The English writer.
Nick Hornby, yes,
who
absolutely.
Is a great Arsenal fan, as you all know. As a favorite page.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he told me that when he had to go to Italy, I think last year, he went to watch at the stadium in Rome a game, Lazio against Milan, I think. Okay. And he was impressed by the slowness of the Serie A. How slow the players were, and also how old were, because now Italy, because it's not so much star. It's not anymore a top league, like it was in the past. Now, usually sometimes teams just sign older players like Ribéry or Cristiano Ronaldo himself. Different. Players that have played incredibly well, in the past, but now. At the end of their career, and this was really, this struck him because he remembered the times and the previous years when Serie A was really the best league in the world. There were such teams like AC Milan, Juventus, Inter. Very top level. And now it's totally different, and Premier League is much better.
Oh no! Well, that's a really interesting point, because I remember, if anyone who was around in the 90s, there was a program on Italian football in Serie A, and it seemed the coolest sort of league, and the best players, and the most sort of drama and intrigue and interest. Those times are gone. Well, no, it's really interesting. Just on the point of Nick Hornby, because he's obviously an absolute legend to me and a lot of other Arsenal fans. I had the sort of pleasure of interviewing him once at a film premiere about an Arsenal film called 89 the Film. And I was just in awe of him. I love him to bits as an Arsenal fan, as a writer, and as a sort of commentator on English football, as well as being a brilliant sort of author on top. But what was he like to sort of talk to in an interview?
Well, he is a very committed, incredible fan of Arsenal. When you talk with him, you understand that Arsenal is his life. Indeed, he lives very close to the Emirates. His studio is very close to the Emirates, and he told me all the stories when he used to go everywhere to follow the team. Arsenal all around Europe. And
was he a good guy?
In the VIP galaxy, he's the proper Arsenal fan.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because genuine Arsenal fan.
He's a genuine Arsenal fan. It's really at his heart. It's just Arsenal. And
that's fantastic. Fantastic. Just in terms of sort of, we've obviously sat in the press box together. We've been in press conferences after Arsenal and Chelsea games over the last couple of years. And remember we were sort of talking about the 2-0 last season when Arsenal beat Sarri's Chelsea, basically. Obviously a big name in Italian football. Obviously Chelsea fans know him, Arsenal fans know him to a certain extent. But it was quite funny because we were in the press conference after the game. Arsenal had played quite well that day. One of the best performances of the season, really, to beat Chelsea 2-0. And just, do you remember what Sarri was like after the game? He was because we were literally sat next to him. He was absolutely furious. We were literally sat next to him, me and Anton.
He just lost his mind.
Yeah, can you remember? Talk us through it. Do you remember?
Well, he just arrived at the press conference room and said, "Okay, I have to speak in Italian because I have to be well understood. I need everyone to understand me. I don't want any misunderstanding and so on. And he just started vetting all his anger against the Chelsea's players. And it was I had never seen, Sarri in my career like that. Because he always tries to, of course, defend his players, and that time Sarri for the first time was really angry towards his players, and he really he said that they had no mentality. They were weak mentally. Just do you remember?
Absolutely.
But that team afterwards, later on, they won the Europe.
And they beat Arsenal 4-1 in the final. Absolutely.
Football is beautiful because you can never expect anything. Everything can happen, and like in Italy now, for the first time, there is a real opponent for Juve. Because Antonio Conte, former Chelsea manager, came back to Italy and he made an impact on that team, and it's the only opponent possible for Juve. The other teams, apart from Lazio, that they won 10 games in a row, which was incredible. But I don't think they're going to last. Until the end of the season.
Absolutely, and just talking about Sarri, obviously one of his previous teams was Napoli back in the day, and obviously when Arsenal played Naples last season, Anton gave me a few tips, give myself Dan a few tips about Naples. It's a crazy place, isn't it? You can feel the passion there, just in terms of the city and the sort of edginess and the stadium and stuff. But there's, like you said earlier, there's a lot of Italian stadiums that are probably past their best now, aren't there, in terms of the infrastructure and the way they are? Because I remember, obviously, Naples in Italia 90.
Naples. The stadium of Napoli is still the same. They have just renovated something last year, but the structure is still the same, and it's not a proper nowadays football stadium, because the stands are really far away from the pitch, and but Sarri really inherited this passion that you mentioned in Naples, because he felt really adored by Naples fans, because really I have rarely seen such a beautiful style of play like Napoli had those 3 years. It was absolutely incredible, and I think that they deserved maybe one Serie A.
They were unlucky, weren't they?
Well, they just they made their mistakes.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But they were a great team, and Sarri is not showing the same now at Juve, because Juve has different players now. Who are not really fit for Sarri's style of play. But he is a very intelligent man, so he has changed and to perform well, despite Juve has not the players he would like to have.
So obviously, Anton, it's been really interesting listening to you talk about Italian football and English football. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy bloke. You've got stories to file tonight as well about the royal family, haven't you? So
yes.
But we won't go there in a moment. But obviously, Chelsea Arsenal, I should say, at Stamford Bridge. Give us a prediction.
It's very hard to give a prediction, but I think it will be a great game, because Arsenal is, getting back in form, I think, and Chelsea too, after a difficult time, they are back. Playing well, and so I think it will be a really, really interesting game.
Fantastic. And score, I've got to say, give us a score.
Score.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Put you on the spot, sorry.
1-1.
1-1, okay, that's cool. Cheers.
Very diplomatic.
Yeah, very diplomatic. Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time, Anton.
Thank you
I
very
really appreciate your time on this. It's been
Thank you.
really fascinating listening to you talk about the difference between England, Italy and football culture in general, and obviously Chelsea, Arsenal. So you've heard what Anton says. Let us know what you think as well. You know, I'm sure some of our viewers have been to Italy to watch Arsenal play or to watch football or are interested in Italian football. Let us know what you think about Arsenal Chelsea as well, Chelsea Arsenal I should say. How do you think Arsenal get on? Thank you so much to Anton for his time. Like, comment, share, and thanks for watching Gooner Fanzine TV. See you soon. Cheers.